Hi guys, join me. Let's make this fitted pants from start to finish. If you are coming across me for the first time, my name is Grace. If you are my returning subscriber, thank you so much for always checking on me. In today's video, we are going to learn how to make this fitted pant from start to finish, and we are going to start by drafting it on a pattern paper, then we transfer it to our main piece. So without further ado, let's get the work done. I'll start by marking my starting line, which I come down by 1 inch. This starting line will also become my waistline, so I'll go ahead and label it waist. This area will be the sides of it. So from there, I'm going to come in by 1 inch. So this line here is the side seam, and this is the starting line, which is the waistline. From the waist to my crotch is 11 inch. So I'm marking 11 inch now. At this crotch line, I'm going to go up by 2.5 inch, and that is my hip line. So I'm marking 2.5 inch from the crotch line. Alright, so this is the hip and this is the crotch. The level is from the waist to the knee is 24 inch. You can see. And I connect it. Okay. Yeah. I label it knee. The next line I'm going to mark is the hem of my trouser or the down of my pants. For me, 42 is always perfect for me, so I mark 42. That is 42. I've also added 1.5 inch for hemming or folding allowance. This allowance, and this is the bottom of the pants. The next measurement I'm going to input is quarter of my hip circumference. My hip circumference is 39. I'm going to add 1 inch for east, and when I add 1 inch to it, I'm having 40 inch. So I'm going to divide the 40 into 4. Again, my hip is 39 plus 1 inch for east, that is 40. So quarter of 40 inch is 10 inch. This is the crotch line. So I mark my 10 inch. I'm also going to mark the same 10 inch at the waist line. And I will connect this point with this point. This is my 10 inch, and also this is my 10 inch. Believing you can see what I'm doing. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to find the midpoint of this line. The midpoint of 11. Remember, from the waist to the crotch line, I told you is 11 inch. Half of it should be 5.5, and I mark this point. I mark the point 5.5. This midpoint, I'm going to go up. I will go up by half an inch. I'm going to go up by half an inch. At this point, you can go in by half an inch if you are a plus size person, and if you are a small size person, you go in by 3/4 inch. So for me, I'm going to be going in by 3/4 inch, and I will connect this line to this half inch I came up with. At this crotch area, I'm going to input my crotch extension. For me, I add 2 inch for the crotch extension, and at this angle I'm going to go up by 1.5, like this, by 1.5. So I'm going to connect here to here and connect here to here. Circumference of my waist is 30, so I'm going to add 1 inch for east, that is 31. So I will divide that 31 by 4, then I will mark quarter of 31 measurement here, which is 7/3. So I'm going to connect this point to the hip line with a cuff. So at this cross line, I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch, and I will connect here to here with a very the distance from here to here. I'm going to find the midpoint. You can fold it like this, and I mark. From here to here, I'm going to measure what I have so that I can connect it on a straight line. Let me measure what I have here. From here to this place, the total distance I have here is almost 6.5. So I fold it. In order for me to have a straight line, I'm going to repeat this at my angle and also at the hem of my pants. Let's connect first. We now have the middle line, so let's continue. So I'm going to input quarter of my nail circumference. For me, when I measure around my nail circumference, I got 17, so I'm marking here 4.1, and also here 4.1. I'm going to connect here to here and here to here with a cuff. And when I get to this place, I try to blend it. Yes, to give me this shape. Nail length, or the hem or the bottom of our pants, I'm going to mark 3.5 here and also 3.5 here. So I'll connect it on a straight line. At this nail length, I'm going to go up by 3 inch. Reason why I'm going up by 3 inch, I need the hem of my pant to be a little bit flare. So I'm going to connect this point together. But this is the actual measurement. At this point, I'm going to come out by 3.5 inch. Also here, 3.5. So we are going to connect it to this line. We'll connect this line, this 3.5 to this 3 inch we came up with. Remember that this is our actual measurement. So when I'm using it to cut on my main piece, at the center seam, this is the center where we have this crotch is the center piece or the center area. I'm going to be adding half inch all around for stitching allowance. While at the side seam of my trouser, I'm going to be adding 1 inch for seam allowance. Please don't forget. You can even indicate at seam allowance so that you don't forget. At seam allowance. For the front, I will trim this side off later. Let me get my back piece first. So let's move on. This is the back piece. We already measure vertical measurement. The new line is the bottom line allowance. So let's continue. The same thing we did to the front piece is the same thing we are going to do to the back piece. I'm inputting quarter of my hip circumference at the crotch line and also at the waistline, and I will connect. At this line, I'm going to divide quarter of my hip circumference into 4. Whatever I have, I'm going to mark it there. I should be having 2.5. It's 2.5. So I'm going to mark 2.5 here on this line. 2.5. That is my crotch extension. Okay. I'm also going to add that to my back piece. So I'm going to find the midpoint of this line. Take my tape like this, which is 10. The midpoint should be 5. Alright. I will shift and also mark it here. The length of my dart I want to use the length of 4.5. So I'm going to connect it. This angle area, I'm going to input my crotch extension. For me, I will use 1/3. You can see the way I bend my tape. This is the back piece, And also from here, I'm going to come in by 1/3 or 2 inch. From here, I'm also going to find the midpoint of this line, which is the midpoint of 11 is 5.5. So this very mark, I'm going to go up by 1 inch, and my 1 inch is exactly here. Can you see it? I'm going to connect it to this point. While I'm going to curve this side. So curve this one here. I'm going to input quarter of my waist circumference, which is 7¾ plus 1 inch for that. I'm going to use a dart of 1 inch, okay, plus 1 inch for that. So I'm going to connect this point to this point. I'll also extend my dart. I'm extending the dart to mix up with the waist new line, this waist new line. But at this crotch line, I'm going to come in by 0.5 inch. That is half an inch. With a cuff. I'm also going to connect from the hip line to the waistline. Okay? So I'm going to find the midpoint of this line. Alright guys, the same thing we did today, front piece, is what we are doing here. There is no big difference, okay? And I'm going to measure what I have here from this line, this straight line, to here. Whatever I have, I'm going to take it down, okay? When I measure, I have 6.5. I'm going to take that 6.5 down. Alright guys, I'm done connecting it, the down of my pants. Don't worry the fact that the camera does not capture all the parts, but I've already done that at the front piece. I'm going to take 4.5 on both sides. Remember the front piece we input 4 inch, but this is the back piece. The back of the pants is always wider than that of the front. Yes, the back of the pants is always wider than that of the front. So I'm marking 4.5 on both sides. At this new length, I'm also going to repeat that same 4.5. So marking 4 inch on both sides, because this is the back, unlike the front that we mark 3.5. I'm going to cut from here to here, the same way we did to the front piece. Alright. This is my back piece. Okay. Measuring around my crotch area to confirm that it's up to my crotch measurement. For me, I have 13.2. This. Okay, let me measure the crotch of my front piece. I'm okay with that. So this is our front piece ready. This allowance we added, this extra inch we added for the flare, so I go up by 3 inch. I'm also going to repeat the same process with my back piece. All right, I mark 3 inch. At the hem of this flare, for the back, we are going to go out by 4 inch. Unlike the front piece, we at that downside we mark 3.5, but for the back piece we mark 4 inch. Take note of this measurement, guys. At this back piece, I was actually distracted, so I make a small mistake which I'm going to show you how to correct it. So from the drafting, instead of us to connect from that our knee line to the crotch line, I end up connecting it from the 3 inch that we came up with, which is not supposed to be so. So I'm correcting it now. And also at the hem of this our pants, instead of us to connect the go out and connect it from this 3 inch I go out with, we connect it at the knee length. So that is the small mistake I make, which I've later noticed it and correct it. Sorry guys, this is a very simple correction that we can easily make. All right. We also indicate here add seam allowance. Okay. Also add seam allowance. So even at the waist, we'll be adding seam allowance. Don't be in a hurry. Keep checking. See? This is the center piece. It's aligned. When we position it like this, you can see that even the downside of it aligned, and also the waist aligned. Yeah. Remember, we go up by 1 inch, so you don't expect the back and the front to be the same. But for the side, they are going to be the same. Look at it, it's aligned. So we are safe and on the safe track. You need to use this as a pattern to cut my main piece. Remember to add your seam allowance. Anyway, I'll come and show you how it looks like. Okay. All right, guys. This back piece is 2 piece. I cut it 2 piece. Can you see it? It's 2 piece. Even this side is open as well. Can you see it? It's 2 piece. All right. And at the side seam, as I explained earlier, I've added 1 inch. At the center of our pants, I've also added ½ inch. At this hem line, I decided to add ½ inch to the hem of the pants instead of 1.5 inch because I felt it would be too long for me. So you can see I folded the ½ inch inward. Have you seen? I folded it in and I add only ½ inch to it. And also at the waist, I've also added ½ inch at this waist side. Okay. And when we attach our band, either 1 inch or 1.5 inch, it will still belong. So I have to reduce the length. If not, this is for the back piece. For the front, I also do the same thing to the front. Alright, it's the same thing. At this crotch area, I've ironed my SA on it. I want to give this my center back and my center front some strength. We are going to start sewing. So guys, now I've placed my two back piece together like this, depending on where you want your zip to be. Either you want it at the center front or at the center back. For me, I will be putting my zip at the side seam, not at the center. Okay, but if you are going for the center piece, from this starting line, you come down like 9 inch. So, and from here you stitch like this, stitch a little place like this close, and you continue stitching. Remember, at the center side we added ½ inch, while at the side seam we added 1 inch. So we are going to stitch it according to the allowance that we had it. I will also repeat the same process on my front piece. This is my back piece. All right guys, we are done stitching down our crotch area. This is the crotch part. I've stitched it down by ½ inch. I also repeat the same process with my front piece. On to the next step now. I'm going to place my front and my back together. Oh my god, to make this pants is very simple. The only work here is to draft. To stitch it down is very simple. All right, you see, I'm going to open my crotch like this. I'm going to open my crotch like this. I will also open this part. So I'm going to join it first at this crotch area. It's very important you do this. So I'm going to stitch it down by ½ inch. I will also close this side by ½ inch. All right guys, at this point you can see that we have stitched it down. So our back piece and our front piece is becoming one. We are going to align our front and our back together. This one up here is the front, while this one down here is the back. Of course, the back piece is going to be wider than the front piece because we are more fuller at the back than the front. You don't expect the front and the back to be the same. So what you are going to do is you are going to push it like this. At this side seam I added 1 inch, so I'm going to take it to my machine and stitch this side by 1 inch. Try to use your hand to align it. It's not going to be the same. Use your hand to put it together, align it. So I'm going to stitch here down by 1 inch. When I'm done, I'm also going to push the back, the front to align with the back. All right, to this side I'm going to also stitch again by 1 inch. Guys, remember to input your dart, and if you have watched to this point, you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. It's actually free. It's helped the channel to grow, and do not forget to click the like button. It will help YouTube to push this video to more people, and importantly, drop a comment in the comment section so that I'll get to know if this video is helpful. And if you have any question, do not hesitate to ask. All right, let's continue. Look at how beautiful it turns out to be. So moving on to the next step, this is the waist area, and this part here is my left hand. I want to attach my zip at the left, so from the top of the waist I'm going to loosen it to 9 inch. Then I will attach the band. For the band, the length of this band is about 35 inch, so it's better you work with allowance than to run out of material. I prefer working with allowance rather than to run out of material. So I'm going to be attaching it to my waist. I've done attaching the band to this pants. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it to my machine, flip it like this. I'll fold the seam allowance to face the band, not the trouser. All right, so I'm going to fold it like this, making sure that what I have here is 1.5 inch. If you want to be sure of what you are doing, you are not sure of your hand, don't want one side to be wider than one side, you mark it the way I'm doing. I'm marking 1.5 because I want the width of this band to be 1.5, nothing more than 1.5 and nothing less, right? I'm simply folding this 1.5 inch like this. I pin it down so that when I'm on top of the machine, it will not shift. It will serve as a guide. I'm going to take it to the machine, carefully run in my stitch like this inside this line. All right, I'm going to open it up like this, stitch it on this joining allowance. So I've done stitching it down. The stitches look like there's no stitch. That is the style we are going for. Guys, sorry, we actually have excess which I've trimmed it out. I also trimmed this part out. So we'll still trim this side out because it's too big. And while trimming, I'm going to leave something about half an inch so that I'll go and weave it all around. So this one is out. When I'm done, I will take it and weave it all around. Right? This is the zip area. So we are going to attach this zip. And lastly, we will also hem the down of our pants. So I'm going to fold in half inch and further fold it by half inch. I will hem it down. As you can see, I've attached my zip. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video so that YouTube will help me to push this video to more people. Thank you so much for watching, and see you all in my next video. Bye.